Come on down to sample class and learn how to make some loops. You can also learn how to do covers for your kids and do your store too. At Sample Class, I'll teach you everything you need to get money from your music. So you don't have to sell 10,000 beats for 15 cents. Oh no! Make whatever kind of music you want to let somebody make it a trap beat later. You could be super creative and get celebrated and also make some paper in Sample Class. Sample Class is what you want to partake in. It's Sample Class. And we're going to add marketing information in Sample Class. Is my mic on? Good levels, good levels, good levels. The levels is good. The levels is good. Make it a record. What's up? What's up, Carlito? Eclipse is in the building. Let me go ahead and share these links so you guys can have some people to talk to. Oh no, 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 no. We don't want to do that. We don't want to do that. We want to share this. Share this shit. Boom. Yes, log me in. So, make sure I share this in my Discord. Sold a few covered calls today. Cash in on some premiums. Good, I'm looking forward to it. All right, so bet. Copy this link. What we doing?
In this video, we're going to look at how to create drum patterns.
You're not gonna speak at all because nobody asked you shit. How about that? Everyone, send now. Send it. We're gonna send it. Where's my shameless plugs? I could have swore I changed the name of this. Whatever. Blurf in the building. All right, so I don't know how to start this shit off. All right. So let's see here. A couple of I think it was yesterday, right? We had a nice got it. We had a nice discussion in the CMP Discord. Ba, 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 ba. We had a nice discussion in the Discord about tuning drums, right? So I was summoned by Gigs, and it started out with him saying, he's like, what if I told you that not every kick, snare, hi-hat, and open hi-hat is tuned naturally to C and assigned to C3 by default, and this could make things a little difficult. How would you respond? and my boy Sir Dwick SD the Goat. So it was just like we tune drums. Um, yeah, man, and we do tune drums. So Gigs wanted to expand on it. He was asking, he's like, you guys are we using software to do it or just ears? I don't think I've ever seen Craft try to find the natural key of a give and snare or hi-hat before. And that's because I don't I don't really I just got home from work, so I'm trying to I should have I should have I should have took a second before I did this because I don't want this to be a sassy stream. I want this to be informational. So give me a second. But so um from where I come from, well, making hip hop music, pitching drums was like that was always a thing, right? And I think tuning drums now, it's the same disconnect that people who started in hardware world, they have a completely different relationship with it than people who started in computer world. And I would liken it to um the whole mono stereo thing, right? So because a lot of people started making music with VSTs and MIDI tracks or stereo, um I've had like people be surprised. Like I always thought a piano was mono or was stereo. And it's like, what? How is a piano stereo? A piano is a piano. You know what I mean? So there's like because computers make it so that you can have relatively little audio and musical background but still create musical ideas that are fun to listen to for not only for you but for other people. um there's like this fundamental gap and a philosophy gap too, right? So like Morningstar is asking, we tuning drums now. That's so funny. I've always tuned drums. I've always tuned drums. And I think people confuse like in 808, these 808 samples that we use, those are not drums, right? I'm going to speak purely in audio world, not in, the hip hop thing that we do where we make up our own name for shit, right? Where we say that a producer is a beat maker and we just roll with that, even though that's not true, but we just roll with it because we can't afford to, because we can't handle being wrong online, right? So an 808 isn't a drum, right? There's no drum set that has these sub basses, right? An 808 at its core is it's just a one shot bass patch, right? And when people tune that, what they call tuning it is they find the fundamental frequency of it and then they match that up in their sampler so that they can play it in key. And that's what people call tuning your 808. Tuning a snare is not the same thing, right? You don't tune a snare by putting it in some kind of software and finding what note it is and then setting it to the root note of your track. Like that's awful. um, I seen something. The Gigs mentioned in this thread, and it was interesting, right? Well, let me before I get there, let me finish this. So the way you tune an 808 and the way you would tune like a hi hat, a snare, a rim shot, um, a triangle, right? It wouldn't be the same as you tune an 808. You the way that I was shown how to do it, right? And the person who showed me how to do this, the person who showed me how to tune drums was Michael Manley, right? He played bass in the fucking Commodores. So, because I know how you guys are. You guys are going to hear me say this shit. You're going to ignore it. And then somebody who you think is cooler is going to say it. And then you're going to forget I said it. And then you're going to piss me off. So listen to me. Like an actual legit musician, he's a badass mixing engineer too, right? And at the time, he was like, he had like his daughters were a dance squad, and he was like trying to put together like he was trying to manage artists, right? And he had a girl group, he had a boy like R&B singing group, he had a couple of solo singers, and then he had my buddy who was a rapper. And what Mike Manley used to do, because he was such a badass musician, was he would make type beats. But yo, his type beats were so nasty. Like I'm talking about, he would call the beats that he would make for us, he would call it dummy music. That's how elitist his thinking was. But like we weren't soft. We knew that this dude was fucking Mike Manley from the Commodores. So we're like, yo, this dude's an alien. You know what I'm saying? All he's saying is that the music doesn't have a bridge, right? He's making loops, and dude, his 4-bar loops were phenomenal, dude. They sounded so crazy. Now I was making beats at the time, and I bring my MPC over. He had an MPC too, and I would, I'd have my sound module, the Roland JV 1080, and I would listen to his drums. Now, okay, so this dude, he had two fucking they're like Roland hard drive recorders, right? So like the shit that you're seeing Kanye use in the Genius doc, right? It was the version before those. So he had two of those so that he could have, I think it was 24 tracks, right? That's what he was mixing on. There was no Pro Tools, there was no crazy stuff, right? And a pair of, I think it was like event monitors or something. And his drums used to jump out of the speakers. And I play my stuff, and my stuff was is the same loud. It's like, dude, what are you doing? How are you getting your drums to sound like that? This is crazy. And he's like, well, you gotta tune them. He's like, your drums are all out of harmony. Like his thing, he was always about harmony, because he's a fucking 70s musician, right? So he's always talking about harmony. Everything was harmony. Everything was harmony. Everything had to be harmonious. It was like his number one thing. He's like, so you got to be able to feel it. I'm like, well, I get that, you've been making music for a long time, so you've been able to feel it. But is there any way that you could explain to me, like, how I could get closer, right? And he's like, all right, so you have, he's like, I'll make it easy for you, right? And he was the type of person where he was like, not everybody can make music, and he was perfectly fine, like, because I'm in his house, trying to learn from him on his time. I'm not paying him nothing. So he has no reason to be nice to me. And he's telling me, he's like, yo, so I'm gonna make it easy for you. I'll give you the shortcut. You can go up 3 semitones, or you could go down 3 semitones, or you could stay at the one that you've got for all of your samples, right? And he's like, He's like, brother, if you can't make the best decision from that range of 7 notes, then you should not be wasting your time with that MPC. As a matter of fact, you should sell that to somebody whose dream it is to do that, who could actually hear this shit. That is what I was told, right? And I didn't fucking go home and cry about it. There was no plugins to help me. You know what I mean? And I didn't call him a hater. I was like, okay, all right. So that's it, right? And I just practiced. So every time I made a song, right? I just tried it, you know? And he was like one of them he's one of them dudes, bro. Like every time the full moon was out, he'd have whatever. So anyway, the way he showed me how to do it was whenever, and this is the reason why I like knobs and buttons. He's like, whenever you're making a change to your music with the machine, right? You need to just close your eyes and listen to it and visualize what's happening. And the people who are really into sound, right? The people who are really great at sound, okay? They'll all tell you the same thing. You need to put your hand on whatever it is and listen, close your eyes and listen to what it does. That's how you get it. All right? So this was in 2002, right? So since 2002, that has been a practice of mine forever, right? Now so that's the basic, that's the baseline, that's the fundamental. And that's before I had 1,000 drum samples to pick from and curate and stuff like that, right? So, are you going to see me grab a potentiometer and close my eyes every time I make a track on a live stream? No. The reason why is because the kits that I have and the way that I curate them, guys, like if you watch the way I make music, I really only make music from like B flat to F. You know what I mean? Like I really only work in those keys, and that's because I make a lot of 808 bass stuff, and that's where the 808 sound good. So the drum racks that I've made and the folders that I've made, they're all sounds from like my personal taste that have worked in beats which are in those keys. So I've already done this level of curation where when I go through my drum racks and I'm picking the sounds, I don't necessarily need to, pull up the spectrum analyzer or do any of that because I've already got that palette, right? Those samples are already in there. So, and I say that to tell you guys that nowadays the biggest part of tuning drums is selecting them, right? The actual select, because bro, a lot of you guys don't got no fucking confidence in your ears, and it breaks my heart. You know what I mean? Because if you love music enough to try it, even though I'm gonna tell you if you can't hear it, you need to get the fuck out of the gym. It's the reason why people say that is because we know that you can hear it. What we're really saying is that if you're too fucking lazy to be able to put it in practice and recognize it, then get out of the way. Like, get out of the way. You're wasting time. You're wasting time. Learn the stock market. You make way more money there. We talking about practice. We talking about practice, guys. So if you go back through my archive, and I don't expect you guys to watch every video that I have, right? I talk about this all the time, right? This is one of the only times like I've done a deep dive on it. It's inspirational because there's people in my Discord who like legit told me like I've never seen you tune a drum before, you know. So I've said like one of my favorite things about the new NPCs is the fact that they have pitch detection in it, and not only does it does pitch detection throughout a whole sample or what have you, but there's also pitch detection on your one shots, right? And that's cool. But the reason why I always tell people the 3 semitones up or the 3 semitones down method is because as soon as I tell somebody that there's a tool to find the pitch of a sample, there's some of you guys that just can't help yourself but start doing it visually. And I cannot stress to you enough that you cannot do everything visually. You cannot. You cannot. I teach a lot of, and you might think that that's coming funny, that's funny coming from me, because I teach a lot of visual hacks. I utilize a lot of visual hacks. But two things can be true. You can utilize a lot of visual hacks, but you have to listen and feel. And I promise you, it's going to be faster. It's the it's like the same thing with this should I tune my 808? Or do 808s need to be in key discussion? More on that later. So enough philosophy, right? Let me show you what my template looks like so that you can see how I utilize it. Right? So no, before we go there, Gigs, when we were in there, Gigs was, we were talking about it. He's like, yeah. He's like, most of the claps that I like, I find that they're in D#3, right? And this is the stuff that makes me want to punch the air in the living room, because it's like, dude, you have to be, you gotta want to know about sound, right? So if you're a producer who uses samples, if you're a beat maker who uses samples, right? It definitely helps out. It's not a requirement, but it's going to make you better to know kind of like what these sounds are made of. And like 808 snares, like the typical hip hop, new hip hop snares that we use, and claps, and a lot of our hi-hats, guys, they're just white noise with envelopes put on them. And I don't know if you know this, but white noise does not have a pitch, right? White noise does not have a pitch. But if you run white noise that has an envelope on it and a filter through a key detection software, you're going to get a pitch. Okay? The reason why you get a pitch is because all these key detection softwares do, every number, or I'm sorry, every note has a frequency. assigned to it, right? Depending on how you're tuned. We're tuned in 440. I believe 440 is the A. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. So 440 is A, and then it goes up by intervals. But you can pull up. I mean, you could pull it up on Google. You could pull it up on a lot of your EQs now. You could find, where what each note's frequency is, right? So if you have a bunch of clap samples that are all made by shaping white noise, that's why they all sound like like they it's white noise. So what you're actually hearing is where like that pitch detection plugin, what it's telling you is, okay, we see the most concentration of frequencies at this number, which is this note. So that is the key of this sample, right? And that is not accurate when it comes to things like, hi-hats and claps. Okay? If you have something like a snare, which is an acoustic sample that comes from a drum kit, those are more tonal, right? You can tune those. I mean, you could tune the white noise too, but you can actually use, some type of pitch detection device for a snare. You can use a pitch detection device for a kick, because most of the times your kick is a sine wave that's been shaped with an envelope and has like some type of saturation. That's how people make kicks. So I'll show you guys my template and kind of how I put it in practice, right? And I'll go slow, because I don't usually, when I do this, I don't usually make a big deal out of it. But since we're having the discussion, let's slow go through it, right? So let me find something. What do we got here? No. Okay. Warp this. Warp it and loop it. All right, so we'll do this guy. Boom, boom, boom. CMP, you like touching knobs, gay. You stupid Manu. All right, so that's that. Get a little 808 action in here. So few things are happening here, right? I'm using a super popular snare. And this snare, when it's played next to an 808, it sounds great. We've been used to hearing this snare for the past decade, and there's nothing wrong with it. Right? So because we have like such an attachment to that sound, you might hear that and always think it sounds good. Right? Our kick, what does our kick sound like? I feel like that kick might sound better if it went up 2 semitones, right? 1 or 2. Now, if you look at my template, a couple of things are going on here. This is my old favorite. If you use, and I used to have this in my old Ableton templates, if you don't have this plugin, which this is free, and it's a better version of what Ableton gives you. But Ableton gives you this plugin called Spectrum, right? And it's a spectrum analyzer. You could press this and it'll expand it up and it'll read. If you see right here, everywhere I drag my mouse on this frequency graph, on the bottom left, it'll give me a note, and it'll give me the hertz, right? So if I play this kick, so the trick is, right, you look at Spectrum. What's up, Pupil? Pupil's in the house. I want to show you guys something. If you guys check out the old CMP kits, whoa. Whoa. I don't know who those people are. Selling Vesa mounts. But if you check out CMP kits right now, we got a new pack on the site. This has so many chords. It's the top 100 from Billboard, top 100 of the 2000s, right? Scalar, MIDI, and ripcord. Solid gold hits all day. Brought to you by Shane and Pupil. And it's 30% off. You got 4 days left. You got 4 days left to get the deal. Otherwise, it's going back to $67. You really should be charging you guys $100 for this, but they fought me, so here we are. Anyway, back to this. The trick with this guy is you're looking for the fundamental frequency. All the fundamental frequency means is the loudest, right? So you go into here and you just look for where the highest peak is. You put your mouse over it, and this is telling me that, you know, the loudest frequency here is a B, right? And then you can kind of look at other loud frequencies, and you see how this, you see how when you go down here and you look at the next loudest frequency, it's also a B. This is kind of how you check it. So this is the next loudest frequency, right? It's also a B. So if you get that 3 times, you could say that you're, you know, okay, so the fundamental frequency here is B, right? Now you see how I just listened to it first though? See how I listened to it first and I was like, you know what? I think that I could turn this up, right? What did I say? Go back and listen to it. I said this could go up 2 semitones or 1 semitone, right? The track that we're in, or the key that we're in with my 808 is C, right? And my fundamental frequencies are here. So what I'm telling you, with practice, it's completely possible to do that with your ear, man. Like, it's easy to do it. And the reason why I'm showing you this is because if you do it with confidence, I'm doing it on a fucking camera in front of you guys, right? And you know, I could have totally embarrassed myself right there, but it's a confidence thing, it's a taste thing. Like, do you make good music? Maybe you don't. Do you know what good music sounds like? If you have good taste in music, you're gonna make good music eventually once you close the skill gap. Okay. So all you got to do, if you want to do this, because if you start here, this is my point. If you start here, if you don't listen and try it first, if you start here, you'll never be able to tune drums ever. You can't do it with this. You cannot. Effortless Beats says, Cap, I can't trust my ears. Then you got to change your name to Struggle Beats, bro, because obviously it ain't effortless. You know what I'm saying? You're having a hard time because you know what I mean. You're having a hard time, and it's not because you can't trust your ears. It's because you don't want to. Can't be scared money, bro. So if we take this kick now and we say, okay, let me go here and we transpose it. Let's A-B it. All right, so we'll call this one, this will be the regular one. You can also use Waves Torque. Yeah, honestly, Greg, I found with Waves Torque, that's another one, bro. And I said it, and somebody who's way better than me at this shit said it also. Like, when it comes to Waves Torque, it works so much better when you use your ear. Like, when you zoom in and you try to just pick the key of that frequency to, like, that shit don't always work. What about using R bass on the kick? Remind me about that. Okay, so check this out. So look. what you're listening for when you're doing this, because I get it. Like you guys might need some help to know what to listen for, because it's a very subtle difference. What you're listening for, especially with these like clipped trappy kicks, what you're listening for is when you hear a drum that is tuned, it's gonna hit harder, right? So the way that I know to go up is if I have like a kick in an 808, and if I'm using the mix and cheat sheet and I've got that 6 dB ratio from 808 to kick, my 808's at -12, my kick's at -6, and if I'm listening to that kick and it sounds like a little muddy and it sounds a little muffled, well, if it sounds muddied and muffled, that is what out of tune sounds like. It's not gonna sound like a sour note, right? It's not gonna sound like it's not gonna sound like this because it's so low, right? So when you these kicks and 808 combos, they should sound really tight, and your kick, it shouldn't sound like I hear it out of tune because they're not really out of tune. That's just the but I hear a drum that could be tuned. I hear a kick that could be tuned better as flabby. You know what I mean? These kicks, and this is specifically for trap kicks, right? These kicks are very short. They're like 30 to 40 milliseconds long. So they should hit your speaker like pap 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 pap. You know what I mean? Like that shit should be pap 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 pap. And it should almost feel bright. And when you turn it up, on your speakers, you should be able to feel it. If it's getting lost, turn it up one semitone, right? And this is how you do it. You turn it up one semitone. If that sounds better than it sounded before, then you turn it up two semitones. If that doesn't sound better than turning it up one semitone, then you turn it up three semitones. If that doesn't sound better than the first two, then you turn it back up to just the one semitone, right? So what you do is you take the anxiety out of the decision, okay? Instead of being this is for like effortless, where you guys feel like you can't trust your ears. You just have to know the parameters of what you're doing, right? Stop making it a thing where it's just like, oh, I don't have pitch. No, you do. All you got to do is turn it into little decisions, right? So you're just comparing it. Okay, between this one and this one. I mean, you do it when you pick the drums, right? You have a folder of 100 kicks, and you're able to figure out which out of that 100 sound good, right? So what the fuck is stopping you from taking it a step further, putting it in your sampler, and going up one and saying, okay, does up one sound better? Does up two sound better? Does up three sound better? And then you pick. That's it. Then if you get into the situation where you feel like you can't trust yourself, right? Because what if their ear sucks, though? Well, I mean, if their ears suck, then they should fucking trade NFTs, bro. Or, no, I'm not going to be that mean. If your ears like legit suck, then don't sweat this shit. You know what I'm saying? Have fun. Like at the end of the day, you're doing this shit because you love it so much that you want to have fun doing it. So don't put yourself in a situation where tuning drums makes it so that it zaps the love out of making music. Like if you have a great time making drums without tuning them, that's fine. But you guys know that this channel is not all about fucking saying that everybody can have fun and be the best. I split that shit up. Right? You can have fun and be a cool person, and we can have fun. But then like once we're gonna talk about like, you know, being good, well, this is that top 10% of things that'll, you know, take you to the next level. I have and I take it so seriously that not only that, you know, not only do I have, and this is a free plugin, not only do I have span, right? So I could listen, right? I'll find this guy, you know, find him in there, see what we're doing, see what this guy is, what's happening here, right? Not only do I have that, but I've also got this guy, you know what I mean? And here's the thing. Here's the thing about these. Depending on your source, they could potentially all give you different results. They could give you all different results. That's why I have this, and that's why I have I don't know what the hell happened there. But that's why I have this guy available to me. That's why I have span available to me. Money Mike says, you can hear it, you can sense it. Now let's learn to recognize it. Perfect pitch can't be learned as an adult, but you don't need it. You definitely don't need perfect pitch. All you need is practice. just curate the kids. All that shit is macros on my push. So so you won't always see me do it, right? And notice I don't have the frequency analyzer on my hi-hat, right? I don't have the frequency analyzer on my snare because these are, you know, a lot of the times these are just white noise pitched up and down. If you if you're listening to your track and you feel like your drums sound a little dark, pitch the hi-hat and the snare up 1, 2, 3 semitones. Pick which one you like better, right? Here's the point. When it comes to pitching like percussive white noise, there's no wrong answer. There is no out of key. Yo, what's AD doing right now? What's AD doing right now? But do you guys get that? Like there's no how to key for a hi-hat. You can't be melodyning hi-hats. You know what I mean? Like we can't be doing that. We can't be taking a hi-hat. How can we do this? Stop you. Stop you. Like we can't take this snare and then go and put it on a MIDI track, set it to melody, and then try to find it. You know what I mean? Like even live is like, what are you doing? What's going on here? You know what I mean? So this is what separates. I mean, everybody who's had Melodyne has tried to Melodyne everything. I'm not judging you. What I'm trying to explain is when it comes to kicks and 808s, you want to listen. You want to listen for, is your kick flabby? If not, you can tighten it up, and the way that you can tighten that frequency up is by tuning it up a little bit. I'm telling you, just if the kick feels flabby and loose, you just a little 1-2, it starts to get that pap in there. Leave it, right? When it comes to hats and rims and snares. When it comes to hats and rims and snares, guys, if you feel like your drums sound too dark, like if you've got like a nice pattern and everything, and you're like, man, these drums they don't have energy, you just tune them up a little bit. And the thing is, the producers who are great, right? Like if you just watch the Kanye documentary and you're all juiced up to be the greatest producer of all time, and his conversation with Pharrell inspires you or whatever. What you gotta do, or what you have to understand is, it's like for sales saying, because one person might like the hat when another person might not, right? All the best producers, what their talent is they're able to pick the sounds that most people are going to hear and be like, that sounds good. I'm going to say that again. And this is why producers get mad at like hit records that they think are simple, right? Because they sit at the DAW and they think this is some type of competition as who can have the hardest time making music. And that's not what we're doing, right? The people who can sit, and it's really this simple, man. The people who could sit at their samplers and go in between that 6 semitone range and find the one that they like most, and then have their taste line up with the people who are outside, those are the fucking great producers. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. Let's argue. You know what I'm doing when I'm going through this bank of percussion loops? I'm tuning drums, right? It doesn't always happen. It doesn't always happen with a tune knob on a sampler. I've got a bunch of percussion loops here, and they've all got, some of them are pitched low, some of them are pitched high. And if I have, the way that I like my stuff to sound lately is if I've got samples that I'm tuning up, the percussion loop that I pick will be something that's more like pitched down. If there's a sound in here that's like one of these white noise joints, I'll listen and I'll be like, okay, that open hi-hat, that should be in harmony with the rest of my drum sounds, right? So that's what I'll listen to when I'm doing 1 2 3 up or 1 2 3 down. I like the way 3 down sounds. Let me see if I like the way 2 down sounds better than 3. Let me listen to 1. The thing is, 1, 2, and 3 all make that white noise hi-hat sound the same. So I like the way this looped sounded before I touched it, and then that open hat kind of jumped out to me, so that was the element I wanted to fix. So I'm going to pick the tuning that affected the loop the least, right? Since -1, 2, and 3 made that hi-hat sound the same to me. Like listen to the open hat. All right, so listen to it again. All right, it sounds the same. But then when you get to 4, there's a big difference. And it sounds far away. You don't want to use that, right? Is this making any sense? Is this doing anything for you? Is this helping out? Good. So, just to wrap it up, guys, just please don't go putting fucking don't go putting Melodyne on white noise, okay? All right. I seen some shit that pissed me off. There's somebody I was following on IG, and I had to unfollow him because I was like, why am I following this person, right? Like this person don't follow me. I have no idea why I'm following this person, but they were doing the I don't hate, but like producer engagement content, it makes my ass itch. Especially when it's like especially when it's like especially when it's a skilled musician that's like shooting bail to kids who don't know what the fuck that they're doing, and then get on Twitter and say that it's okay that they don't know what the fuck that they're doing, instead of like being like, hey, maybe I could learn how to do this better, you know. You know what I'm saying. But like Buddy, he plays piano, and he was saying, if your 808 isn't in the scale of the track, that's okay, as long as it evokes a feeling. And it's just like, no, bro, like if your track's in, D minor, and then, your melody is like, and then you decide that your bass note is this, does that sound better than this? Like, we're just gonna call this a vibe. Instead of doing this. No, bro. No, bro. Is this a vibe? Is this a vibe? How about this? Instead of this. All three of those options could, that you could say like that sounds good, but come on, bro, this one sounds better. Like we're not we're not pushing the boundaries of music. We're not making new jazz by playing our bass by flattening our bass note. We're just not doing that, bro. How about this? That's a vibe. No, bro, that sucks. That sucks, bro. I appreciate the gems. For me, some learning shit, but I appreciate the fact that some kid can find you on here and learn the shit quicker than I did. Yeah, bro. That's what this place is all about, because it took me a long time to learn all this, and I'm not one of those people that thinks that it should take everybody else just as long, bro. But anyways, I'm gonna get out of here, guys. I gotta get up super early in the morning, and I still ain't watched Snowfall. So y'all keep it simple. Don't be basic.